name of the book is called The Big Fix, The Hunt for the Match Fixers, Bringing Down Soccer. And Brett Forrest joins us tonight, contributing writer for ESPN, the magazine. And Brett, timely book, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on, Doug. Yeah, it certainly is, with all the interest in the World Cup. You're right.
Had a chance to read through it. I got it the other day, and I read it in about a couple of sittings. I was fascinated by it, not only because we're doing the World Cup. I know a little bit about soccer. I've been doing some play-by-play of it, but I didn't realize the amount of betting that goes on in it, and you really go into detail, not only the amount of money that's bet on soccer, but the way soccer is bet on. I never heard about, in a game itself, the odds can change during a game. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I had a similar reaction when I first encountered this material. I didn't come from a gambling background, or even a soccer background. I mean, I write on a lot of different topics. I write about crime pretty frequently, so I approach this as a crime story, and it was shocking to me, the amount of money that's bet on soccer per year, and the figure is roughly $1 trillion globally, which, if it was its own country, would make it the 8th largest economy in the world. And once you understand the figures involved, you see why the manipulation of matches would be attractive for organized crime, because the numbers are just tremendous. And yeah, certainly the way that people bet on soccer is something that has evolved along with the internet, and also the rise of the Chinese economy just over the last 10 to 15 years, and it's mutated into something that is pretty foreign in its behavior to the average American sports fan.
Yeah, I know over in Europe, I know in London and in the UK, betting is legal on games pretty much anywhere. Is it that way throughout most of Europe and Middle Eastern countries and where they play soccer?
Well, I'll tell you that the main area of concern here is Asia, because while betting on sports, gambling on sports is significant and throughout Europe, it really pales in comparison to the level of activity in mainland China, in Hong Kong, Macau, right, but also throughout Asia, and in countries that may surprise you, such as the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia. Some of these places have the most active sports gambling markets in the entire world, and the numbers that are generated there make the numbers in the rest of the world look minuscule. And once you begin to understand, you were asking about the legality of it. It's really one big gray area, and once you begin to understand that, then your mind gets to the fact that this thing is really out of control.
Majority of gambling on soccer then would be through bookies or whatever they call them over there, rather than through sports books, right?
Well, it's both. There's the sort of legal market, which I guess you'd call the sports book. These are establishments that behave mostly online. These are, once you have an account, you can access your own personal account through these sports books, through their internet portals. But, also you have an incredibly active and possibly larger black market, illegal market of gambling on sports in Asia. And that is done through, you're vouched into the system by someone on the inside who can, who can sort of back you if you were to come up with a debt. And all that stuff is really done through text messages, through phone calls, and there's no real central office for a lot of these bookies. They're just, walking from cafe to cafe and just handling it all on the phone. And as I said, that marketplace is possibly even bigger than the legal one.
And the book is The Big Fix, The Hunt for the Match Fixers, Bringing Down Soccer. Brett Forrest joins us now. And again, I was kind of interested, and you really describe the way games are bet on. It's kind of intricate in a way. A game can be played, and the odds can change multiple times during a game, and apparently you can change your bet during a game, right?
Yeah, that's right. Think about the traditional way of betting on a game that we know. You look at the line, you look at the spread, the odds. You place your bet, and then you sit down and watch the game. Now, if your bet kind of goes south in the first half of the game, then you're just stuck with it. There's nothing you can do, and you lose interest, maybe even in the game itself. The way that people bet on soccer now in-game is totally different. As you mentioned, the line, the odds, the bookmaker can change these multiple times per minute of a soccer game based on the changing variables of the game itself. For example, if one team scores, that team's chance of winning will increase. Also, if a player is sent off on a red card, or depending on another variable, time left in the game. So the bookmaker will look at all these variables and in real time change what he offers to his clients. And the client can therefore make multiple bets as the game progresses. If the bet that he made at the beginning of the match doesn't look good anymore, then he'll just switch, he'll hedge, and he'll make a bet on the other side. And it has transformed the betting market into more of something that mimics the playing experience itself, with that exhilaration and adrenaline that the player on the field might have.
Mm. And that's where the match fixing comes in. I know you describe in the book, you talk about red cards, how referees can be influenced, and of course players can be influenced. I guess most of the betting, or at least the majority of it, is the over-under on goals, right? Where that can be easily, maybe not easily, but can be manipulated by encouraging either more goals to be scored or fewer goals to be scored, right?
Yeah, you're right. The areas of concentration for the match fixers and their financial backers would be the over-under, but also it would be the final score and the margin of victory for one team or the other. Keep in mind that because of the betting market is changing minute by minute, the fixer will often be sitting in the stands, monitoring the changing behavior of the market itself on his smartphone. On the other phone, he'll be talking to people back in China who are actually placing the bets, and he'll be communicating to the players on the field through a prearranged signal, such as taking a hat on or off, and through that communication telling them, now is the time to let in a goal. So it's an incredibly fast-paced, kind of diabolical manipulation of the game that most fans wouldn't even see.
It's almost like day trading in the stock market in a sense, although it's crooked, but it's almost like that. It can change from minute to minute, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And you can bet accordingly.
That's an astute observation. I think the behavior of the international sports betting market on soccer these days, it resembles most of all the way that Wall Street behaves. It's a dynamic, second-by-second marketplace that demands incredible knowledge in order to succeed on it.
Two of the characters, if I could call them that, they are real people, but you talk about in the book the FIFA head of security, Chris Eaton, who's trying to stop this, or at least track down some of the people that are doing this. And I guess the main guy that you write about, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Perumal, is that his name? But he's the guy that's kind of known as best at fixing. Yeah. Interesting guys to write about. How close did you get to Perumal?
Well, Wilson Perumal is the most infamous match fixer in the world, a guy from Singapore. He may not be the most active, but he certainly is the most outspoken. He's been arrested many times, and he's served prison time in several jurisdictions for this crime. I was able to get very close with him on 3 or 4 occasions. I visited him in Budapest, where he was serving as a witness in a criminal proceeding there, and was seemingly, while under the watchful eye of Europol and the Hungarian authorities, continuing to fix matches in Australia and in Europe without the authorities apparently even knowing about it. So I met with him several times while he was apparently doing that. We went out to some of his favorite night spots in Budapest. We had a few dinners together. I watched him gamble online, and he really, peeled the curtain back for me and explained to me not only his own personal story, but how the whole thing really works.
Now, I know Americans right now, we're all experts on soccer from watching the World Cup, but that goes away in a couple of weeks, and it goes back to pretty much only the diehards following it. I know the European leagues and all that, there are more fans here now. The games are on TV, but I guess a lot of fans would want to know, how about this World Cup? Do you see any of that kind of match fixing perhaps going on here, or is that pretty clean compared to the regular league play of soccer?
Well, there has been a lot of chatter. And a lot of people have been making various accusations about play in this World Cup when it comes to match fixing. There was a lot of talk about a game between Cameroon and Croatia, which Croatia won 4-0. In the first half, a player from Cameroon, one of their stars, was sent off on a red card. And there was talk out of Germany that Wilson Paramal had predicted this before the match, both the score and the red card. It turned out not to be the case, seemingly at least, and FIFA is now involved with Der Spiegel, the German publication, demanding that Der Spiegel produces its source materials for this allegation. Also, there's talk that there are 2 referees that have officiated matches in this World Cup who have been proven to be involved in match fixing in the past, and FIFA allowed them to work this tournament. And I've fielded a lot of communications, emails from different sources, people saying, well, this game is suspect, or I have information that players on this team have been taking money. I will tell you that the behavior of the betting market doesn't betray any signs of fixing of any matches so far in this World Cup. But keep in mind that really is only monitoring the legal market, and it's possible that that there was something going on the illegal market. So the problem here really, and this is one of the real crimes or travesties of this whole match fixing thing, is that we don't know what to trust anymore. Even a match that is played and officiated on the up and up today, we still doubt it, and that's not going to change until this crime is really confronted.
And when you look at a game of soccer, like I said, I had a little experience doing some play-by-play of it. It's a type of game that'd be very easy. I think basketball people think is probably the easiest to fix, but soccer even easier, I would think, just the way the game is played, without making it look like you're doing something funny. Yeah, I think so. I mean, in basketball, there's so much scoring that it's easy to do a little point shaving here and there. Right. But the thing about soccer is you have 2 things that are working in your advantage. One is there usually isn't a great amount of scoring, so one goal can make a big difference. And also, look how big the net is and how small the ball is in comparison. So you have the 2 people who are usually targeted for manipulation are the goalie and the referee, because given those factors, the size of the net, they have these 2 people have incredible influence, or they can have, on the outcome of the game. Obviously, the goalie can make it look as though he's trying when he's actually not, and the referee can simply award a penalty kick out of nowhere, and most of those are automatic goals. So that's usually how they work it. Before I read your book, I wouldn't have really given it a second thought, but now seeing that injury to Neymar of I think that's how you pronounce his name, of Brazil, getting the knee in the back, it makes you think. I don't know if that has anything to do with fixing, but it's a question mark. I don't know what you thought. Well, again, that's what I said earlier. That we doubt everything. We're beginning to lose faith in the game because of fixing, also because the fact that FIFA, the international governing body of the sport, has such internal corruption problems that we don't really believe much that they say either. So I don't particularly see any fix in Neymar's injury, the fact that he's out of the World Cup. But you and I are sitting here debating it because of this greater scourge of match fixing. Yeah, what better way to changed the outcome of the tournament, knocked out the best player of Brazil, and it didn't look like it was that hard a hit originally. Obviously, it hit the right spot apparently to crack the vertebrae, but you look at the replay now, you wonder. But like you said, it just brings up another question. But it's interesting.
Well,
to
keep
talk
in mind
about.
also that if you're going to fix a match, and that injury took place at the end of a particular game. If you're going to fix a match, you want to create an event, an artificial event during play. So you can't say that an injury against Neymar at the end of a quarterfinal match is going to have betting implications in the semifinal match to follow it. It has to happen because the market moves so quickly during the game. The event that you create has to happen during that time.
Well, it's a fascinating book. Again, it's called The Big Fix, The Hunt for the Match Fixers Bringing Down Soccer. We've been talking with Brett Forrest today, and you don't have to be a soccer fan to kind of really get into what goes on behind the world of sports betting. And I know it just came out. Brett, do you have a website you want to direct people to?
Yeah, certainly. It's just my name. It's brettforrest.com, and of course you can find the book on Barnes & Noble and Amazon and all those other spots.
Great. Brett, pleasure talking to you. Thanks for taking the time tonight. I know it's a busy time for you covering the World Cup, but I'd love to have you back on.